What's up, fight fans? Welcome back to Sportskeeda MMA News. Mike Tyson gets into a heated altercation with a drunk idiot on a plane, and the MMA world shares their thoughts. Joe Rogan talks about the best course of action for Conor McGregor's octagon return. The man with no filter, Strickland, recently blasted coaches Jim West and Pat Barry for allegedly sexually grooming their partners. Michael Bisping tells fans to get over the eagle and start respecting Charlie Olives. And Uncle Chael Sonnen calls for a welterweight super fight between Jorge Masvidal and Gilbert Burns. All that and more on today's edition of Sportskeeda MMA News. Let's get started. If you see any of your favorite fighters mentioned, make sure to blast that like button. Recently, some drunk nematode on a plane messed with one of the most prolific knockout artists in the golden days of boxing, and he paid the price. A video surfaced involving the altercation, showing a belligerent passenger provoking Mike Tyson, and according to a spokesperson, threw a water bottle at him while he was in his seat. Eventually, Tyson snapped, grabbed the passenger, and threw vicious punches. The man was left with lacerations on the side of his head. Here are some of the reactions from the MMA world. Referee Mark Goddard criticized the social media skewing of the facts. Social media and news at its finest. So many video clips of Mike Tyson punching the passenger on the plane. But show the whole video and lead up that's out there of a drunk man harassing, not the last 30 seconds with the clickbait headline. Former title challenger Kelvin Gastelum says, "Drunk, annoying, and rude. Please don't be like this guy, folks. I've been around Mike and he's an extremely calm person these days. This guy must have really brought it out of him." UFC President Dana White said this, "Hey dummies, for future reference, this is how you stay alive when bumping into Mike Tyson on an airplane," and posted the video of when Tyson forced White out of his seat on an airplane. Pro boxer Jake Paul also came to Tyson's defense. "If you're being heckled in public like Mike Tyson was, you should legally get a hall pass to beat someone's This generation thinks they can get away with anything." The San Francisco Police Department has since released a statement on the incident. Officers arrived and detained 2 subjects that were believed to be involved in the incident. One subject was treated at the scene for non-life-threatening injuries. That subject provided minimal details of the incident and refused to cooperate further with the police investigation. Both subjects were released. The MMA world was quick to stand up for an icon of combat sports, despite pushback from others that would suggest violence being the last course of action. Tyson knocked out 44 of his opponents and ruled the heavyweight division from 1987 to 1990. He would retire from boxing in 2005. What do you make of Mike Tyson retaliating against the aggressive passenger? Leave a comment down below. Iconic UFC commentator and the most popular podcaster on earth, Joe Rogan, recently gave his thoughts on Conor McGregor's return. Recently, Rogan sat down with Mike Tyson on his podcast Hot Boxin' and suggested that McGregor needs to shake off some ring rust. Here's what Rogan had to say.
If Conor wants the most chance of success, I would say fight a guy who is a little below championship level. Maybe a guy on the come up who Conor has an advantage over, but it's still a competitive fight. Give him a test, but don't put him in there right away with Usman. I think, honestly, when boxers come back from a long layoff and they come back from a loss, one thing that boxers do that's smart is they have a tune-up fight. I think there's a reason why they've been using tune-up fights forever, astute managers. They know you got to knock the dust off and you'll be better in the next performance.
The former double champ has been sidelined for nearly a year after sustaining a compound fracture injury in his trilogy fight with Dustin Poirier back at UFC 264. McGregor is 2-3 in his last 5 fights, but is convinced that he is going to waltz right back into a title shot with pound-for-pound king and welterweight champ Kamaru Usman. Do you agree with Joe Rogan that Conor McGregor needs a tune-up fight? Everyone's favorite psychopath, Strickland, has just opened up a can of worms on the MMA world, and despite his previous bouts of saying exactly what he's thinking, these comments seem to be holding some weight. Recently, Strickland criticized coach Jim West and former UFC heavyweight Pat Barry for allegedly sexually grooming their partners Aspen Ladd and UFC strawweight champion Rose Namajunas respectively. Here is what Strickland wrote on Twitter. "So, I'm pretty sure Aspen Ladd is suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. LMAO. I didn't really care about the corner video, but when you add some other facts to the situation, it's a little creepy. LMAO. The corner video Strickland refers to is footage from Ladd's fight with Norma Dumont, where coach Jim West was filmed giving brutally honest advice to Ladd, who is also his girlfriend. Strickland then continued, "Women are very easy targets for male coaches. Automatically assume weird father role, which turns into a hero worship complex. The fact you started to train with him at what, 12? 100% grooming predator. Tell me my facts are wrong and I'll apologize now. Aspen Ladd. These tweets have generated a fan storm of examples where Strickland's comments apply. Even former MMA fighter Tara La Rosa chimed in. You have no idea how 100% insanely correct you are, Sean. There's a 30-plus-year-old married instructor his 16-year-old students and other girls/women in his gym. He groomed them. Then Strickland ended off with this. Is Jim West and Pat Barry the Weinstein of MMA? Or is Michael Jackson a better comparison? Netflix is currently contacting Aspen Ladd and Rose Namajunas for a TV series, lol. Okay, I'm done, gotta spar. The 41-year-old Pat Barry is the fiance of UFC strawweight champ Rose Namajunas and has been accused of sexually grooming her in the past. Notably, a common rumor that Namajunas was 14 when Barry fell in love with her. While completely unexpected, Strickland sparked debate among MMA fans, who would add examples such as UFC flyweight Joanne Wood marrying her coach, and Antonina Shevchenko, sister to flyweight queen Valentina, and husband to their trainer Pavel Fedotov. What are your thoughts on Strickland's comments? Former UFC middleweight champion Michael Bisping sung his praises about lightweight champion and the number 5 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Charles Oliveira. Bisping cited many fans not giving Oliveira credit due to the recency of Khabib Nurmagomedov's dominant reign, which includes finishes over Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, and Justin Gaethje, while never even suffering a scratch in his 29-0 MMA career. Here's what Bisping had to say.
Sometimes people don't appreciate the talent that they see right before them. Listen, maybe that's because Khabib Nurmagomedov, in a lot of people's eyes, is still classed as the champ. He retired on top, so some people might still think that, okay? But they need to get over that. They need to get a grip. The numbers don't lie, and when you look at the numbers, here they are. The man has had 20 wins in the UFC. 18 of them have come by way of stoppage. That is a 90% finish rate, which is absolutely phenomenal. Need more? Well, guess what? The man has the most post-fight bonuses in the history of the company as well, coming in at 18. 12 performance of the night bonuses, 3 submission of the night, and 3 fight of the night. The stats don't lie. He's one of the most exciting ever and one of the best ever.
And after choking out Dustin Poirier last year, and before that, knocking out one of the most explosive fighters in the lightweight division in Michael Chandler to win the lightweight strap, how can fans deny Oliveira? Oliveira himself is confident, heading into his title fight just 3 weeks away against #1 contender Justin Gaethje. At a UFC press conference, Oliveira gave an ice-cold response to Justin Gaethje, once claiming that he had no heart in the fighting game. Listen, Justin Gaethje, the guy with the heaviest punch in the UFC, he made it a war against Michael Chandler. Why didn't he knock him out? I knocked him out with my left hand. Is there any louder message? He will get his chance to prove that he is better than me, and that I do not have heart. The 32-8 Charles Oliveira is poised to make his second title defense against Gaethje at UFC 274. What do you think Charles Oliveira has to do to beat an incredibly tough Justin Gaethje? While you're still here, subscribe to Sportskeeda MMA and hit that bell. And last but not least, Chael Sonnen recently let fans in on a matchup he believes to be essential in the welterweight division. As the welterweight division gains some new talent and continues to move forward, Sonnen suggested that top welterweight Gilbert Burns should find his next target with a fellow UFC superstar. Here's what he said.
I don't know that there was very many scenarios 1 month ago that I would buy into the idea that Gilbert Burns was going to take on Masvidal. But I do now. Gilbert Burns has called for that fight. He has said, I wanted Masvidal. Gilbert Burns, in the history of this sport, has gotten one thing that he wanted. And he went through hell to get that, and that was a world title fight. He did not want to fight Kamaru Usman specifically. I think that Masvidal solves it. I don't think Masvidal has ever said no to Gilbert, by the way. I don't think Masvidal would say no to Gilbert, by the way. I don't think Masvidal's ever been offered Gilbert.
The 20-5 Gilbert Burns is coming off a fight of the night loss to Khamzat Chimaev, but has gained the respect of thousands of MMA fans. Jorge Masvidal is on a 3-fight losing skid, dropping 2 to the champion Kamaru Usman, and most recently a unanimous decision loss to bitter rival Colby Covington. Does a Burns versus Masvidal matchup make sense? Who takes that fight? That about does it for Sportskeeda MMA news. Here are some of the best comments from today. Super necessary. His fight against Anderson with one eye is more impressive than Izzy's win against Anderson by a long shot. Who in their right mind picks on Mike Tyson? Be real. What did you think was going to happen? If you liked this video, please like, comment, and share. Your comments could be featured in the next Sportskeeda MMA news video. We're always delivering daily content, so make sure you subscribe and hit that bell. For updates, quotes, and exclusive interviews from all your favorite fighters, follow Sportskeeda MMA on Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in.